everyone. My name is Lee Perry, and welcome to the Organizing to Victory podcast, where we're talking garage politics. On today's episode, we're talking to Greg Perkins, the creator of the Egg Report and a member of the Orange County Democratic Black Caucus. He's here to talk about the price of eggs, bacon, and so many things that have become more and more unaffordable, and challenging the idea of bringing more affordability messaging into our political system. Here's my conversation with Greg. So everybody, we have a very special guest. Meet my dear friend, Greg Perkins, the creator of the Egg Report.
Hey, how are you, Lee?
It's so nice to have you on. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, so
I'm looking forward to this.
I've always wanted to know how you got involved in politics. I see you at all the meetings. I see you out and about knocking doors and doing some grassroots work. But how did you get your start?
Well, I've always watched politics on TV, but I've never been a part of anything, right? So I have a group of friends, real smart guys, very accomplished guys, and we would sit on his patio, watch football, barbecue, whatever. And I'm like, guys, all we're doing is complaining. We're not doing anything. And so I'm like, Greg, you're not doing anything. So I said, you know what? After I saw Trump win the second time, I said, no, this is unacceptable. I have to do something. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I have to do something. And I got online and I found out about the Orange County Democrats. And I went to one of those meetings. From there, I met Sonia Stevenson, who's the president of the Orange County Democratic Black Caucus. And so I said, I'm going to join both of these organizations to educate myself at a large scale as well as a smaller scale. So I've always watched politics. I've always been very aware of these things, but I never took any action. So here I am. So I think now I've been at this for about a year. And I'm very passionate about it because I just don't like what I'm seeing. There's enough to share. You don't have to be mean, right? So, but in order for things to change, it has to come from people like me and you.
What was the thing that made you, outside of, Trump getting elected, what was the thing? Was there a particular action or policy that you were like, oh no, I have to get out of my house today?
Well, the first time I watched, of course, I always vote Democrat, and I voted for Hillary, right? And when she didn't win, I was shocked. I was like, holy cow, this lady she's very accomplished. And I was like, something's going on. And then the country kind of pivoted back with Joe Biden, and we had that whole thing where Kamala ran at the last minute, and I didn't think Trump was going to win again. I thought she might barely beat him. And I said, why are people voting for this guy? He's a very mean person. He's a very angry person. He's a very nasty person. He's using the presidency to enrich his family. I'm like, people aren't going to vote for that. But they did. And so that angered me because I knew that he wasn't going to do a good job the second time, because now he's unleashed, right? Supposedly he's not going to run again, right? So this guy, he's not limited by anything he wants to do. And he's showing us. To me, we're kind of in a dictatorship because he doesn't always listen to the courts. People are losing their lives because of ICE. This is crazy. So I knew that this time was going to be much worse. And the Democrats, they were kind of all over the place. And I just said, you know what? Let me just go in and see what I can offer. So that was the thing that motivated me, because I just knew that this guy was not going to be a nice person. And I especially didn't like the things that he was saying about Black people, about Haitians eating cats and dogs. And I also don't like the politics in Florida. Florida used to be a swing state. And now I don't know what they've turned this state into. It's crazy.
Well, I find that story really awesome because I think the whole point of this podcast is to try and tell stories of everyday people who are maybe not involved in politics and try to get them to feel that little urge and explore that a little bit more and hopefully get more active.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for sharing your story. And since joining, what has your experience been like?
You know what? I like it. So I never used social media before, right? So I've been teaching myself how to do social media so that I could do my mini podcast that I call the Egg Report in the morning. I created a website based on, it's a very simple website. It gives prices on eggs, chicken, bacon, and milk, okay? So people can quickly see that actually prices were lower under Biden. So I'll take Biden's last year and I compare that to what Trump has done. Now, Trump, the gas prices are low, but my explanation for that is that more people are driving electric cars. So the demand for gas is not as high, right? But things for the average person were actually better. However, I try not to criticize people who support Trump or make fun of them because you're not going to bridge a gap that way, right? So I think the Democrats, in a lot of cases, they weren't really hearing people. They weren't really listening to people. And I think sometimes too much in the Democratic Party, we look for these big leaders at a higher level. But when I got involved with Orange County Democrats, I'm like, wow, Orange County is successful because of the people that are here. It's a very cohesive unit. It's a very organized unit. There are always activities. There's always something going on. And it's almost like the people empower themselves here, right? And we act as a family. As a matter of fact, I was afraid of door knocking, right? So I did my first door knocking two weekends ago. I showed up. I thought we were just going to be talking to people in the park. And this young girl, I forget her name. Maybe you know her. She's
Zoe?
Not Zoe. She just became the organizer of field campaigns. She just graduated from UCF. They introduced her at the last meeting.
Yeah.
But
Samira.
Yes, her. So I went with her. And I was like, oh, this is not so bad, right? Like I was afraid. She was like, well, Greg, it's organized. It's going to be Democrats. And she's, phone calls, I'm okay with, right? I've had some bad experiences with that, but I would say 92% of my experiences have been really good. A lot of people are nice. People aren't as mean as you may think they are. Mm-hmm. So my experiences, they've been great. Getting back to me teaching myself social media. So you showed me, you and I partnered. You showed me the thing about MailChimp and all that. And now I feel good. I know how to do a newsletter.
I love the newsletter.
I was like, she is so awesome. But I was afraid of things like that. I'm like, Greg, you can't because we live in a new world. Mm-hmm. So you have to show up physically and you also have to be active online. Mm-hmm. So my experiences, they've been very, very positive. I like the people. I'm fascinated how people exchange phone numbers so quickly because that tells me they're serious. They're not playing games. They're like, hey, here's my number. If you want to volunteer, give me a call. I can find something for you to do.
That's interesting. Yeah, I always try to use that as like a benchmark of how to analyze a candidate. Like now Senator Carlos Guillermo Smith, he was always giving his personal cell out everywhere he went. Mm-hmm. And that to me shows the caliber of elected official, for example, and how if they want to be in touch, they're not going to give you some aide's email that they're never going to actually meet with you one-on-one again. They're actually going to go out of their way to make sure that you have that interaction. And I think that's deep organizing, right? Because now you have someone in your phone who you know, who you want to make sure that you follow through in the contact. And, I think Orange County Dems has had, as the political system has gotten more tight and stringent and conservative, I think Orange County has blossomed into this deeper organizing place.
Yes.
Because I've heard in the past, a lot of people were like, don't go to those OC Dems meetings. They just argue about the bylaws and stuff like this. Was like, I don't know, probably like 7 years ago at this point. But now I think it's a joyful experience. People want to get involved. They want to be as it becomes scarier out in the real world, they want to plug into a place where they can immediately get to work. And another quick thing about your story that I really want to emphasize is that even though you were scared, you still challenged yourself to want to do something. People think like, oh, Lee's so great. She wants to do this and this and this. I'm always scared. I'm scared of messing up. I'm scared of having typos in my emails. I'm scared of doing this podcast. I was like so terrified of putting my face out there more and becoming more of a target for the crazies online. And it just felt like, well, if I'm upset that I don't hear the Dems yelling loud enough or doing enough, then why don't I just do it?
Yep, exactly.
And my husband actually was the one that told me, because I tried to start this podcast a few years ago and I never actually marketed it. He was the one that kind of told me, like, it's never going to be perfect.
Never.
Just put it out there.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get so embarrassed by the way I talk or whatever. I don't even watch my own podcast sometimes. But the feedback that I've gotten from people who have gotten to know other organizers in the space because of this opportunity, it shows me something's right. When you push yourself outside of your emotional limits and you try something new, even when it's scary, you might actually end up bridging the gap for people so that they can feel brave and inspiring them.
And winning elections.
And winning elections. It's 2026.
Exactly. Because Orange County, I think when I looked at the numbers, it's like more than 80% Democrat here, which is crazy in the state of Florida. But again, I think it's because of the organizing factor, the platform tools that you guys use and how we collectively almost move as one. Like we had the Black History program, but other people from other organizations came to support. And I really like that. I like the way all of the different organizations support each other. Like you with the Environmental Caucus, I'm with the Black Caucus, then you have the OC Dems. And I just like the way that we all support each other in Orange County in a non-judgmental way. We keep it at a business level, but I also see a lot of passion. And there's a great mix of the young and the old. So I'm really excited about being a part of this. And speaking of cell phone numbers, there was another issue I was working on regarding Florida A&M University, because I don't know if you're aware or not, we have kind of like this MAGA president there. So I was part of a group trying to stop that. And I reached out to Anna Escamani via phone. I was texting her, right? So I got a phone call. She goes, Greg, I don't want to keep texting. How can I help you? I was like, holy cow. She actually cared. She picked the phone up. We had a conversation and she helped me as much as she could with what was happening. And I was very, very impressed with that. And I'm like super, super impressed with this girl. She is so awesome.
And I mean, that to me is the type of leadership we should all strive for, even Republicans. This is something that when I meet a Republican, like you said, you don't want to be condescending. You want to challenge their ethos and ask them, what do you feel like you deserve in a leader, right? Someone who's just going to come down on minorities and marginalized groups, or someone who's going to pick up the phone and answer your constituent call and make sure that your needs are addressed. And I just wish that more of them thought that way, because sometimes what I've heard is it's a lot of fear that they're losing out on something, right? Like immigrants are taking jobs, are taking resources away. And if they're struggling, that fear is projected. But what I try to inspire people to think of is, even within the Republican Party, challenge your party to be more present. You'll notice a lot of the Republican leaders don't host town halls.
Of course not. No.
They don't have really in-district office visits.
Right. No, they've totally neglected their duties. Like Congress, they've just given Trump a blank check. It's kind of scary. As a matter of fact, my former boss, she saw one of my posts and she goes, oh, I disagree with you. I'm like, that's fine. I said, I like you as a person. We just disagree politically. And I said, you guys keep excusing all of these things that this guy's doing. This is very dangerous, to the point people have been killed. Yeah. United States citizens. And my old boss, she said, and Greg, the immigrants, they're impacting black people. I said, no, they're not. I said, people always say, oh, the immigrants are taking black jobs. I'm like, no, they're not. No immigrant is taking any black job. They're not taking any job. I said, black people coming out of slavery, after Jim Crow, civil rights, we've always had to push forward regardless. It's really a way of life for us, right? So you don't see a lot of black people complain. I am disappointed in some black people, but they're going to be what they are. So I'm at the point now, simply because you're black, that doesn't mean you are culturally aligned with me or politically aligned with me, right? I come from a place of help. People helped me. We didn't grow up with a lot of money. I'm legally blind, and people helped me through all of those situations. And my family, there was always a lot of love, right? It wasn't a perfect family, but there was always a lot of love, and there was always a lot of great food, right? So when I see people, when they get in power, they just try to keep everything for themselves. And this country is so rich, it's so powerful. Why do just a few people have to have all of the power and not share with the rest of us? And why do you have to belittle people? Why do you have to marginalize people? Why do you have to call people names? I mean, we wouldn't let our children act like that. Not even our pets, right? No. We make our pets behave, right? So I don't get it. Because when people ask me, say, why you're a Democrat, I mean, I can tell them why I'm a Democrat, because of civil rights, because of what John F. Kennedy, he basically saved Martin Luther King's life. And for me, Democrats have a little more, no, not a little more, they have more empathy than Republicans. I'm like, you guys are very harsh. Like, why are you so angry?
Right. It's not really God's will to be so like oppressive to social services. But yeah, I find that really interesting. And I think that's why, at least what I chalk it up to, is we're looking at almost different realities, almost different data. Which is why I think the egg report is so important, because if you just can map out the truth in terms of prices, costs, a lot of the misconceptions can be squashed if you actually have one source of data that's telling just the raw data and the raw truth. But right now, with artificial intelligence and frankly, a lot of podcasters that claim that they know, right? No one here on this pod is acting like they know. We just are saying our opinion. Right. We're not claiming to be the news. But there's a lot of people on the internet who are claiming to be the news. And yet, you know, when I talk to Republicans, they say things about immigrants taking jobs, or one Republican I just had a conversation with said, I just don't like that they're putting all these migrants up in fancy hotels in New York, and I can barely feed my kid, right? And I'm like, wait a minute, let's talk about that. Texas, their governor human trafficked people to New York, and it's actually against the law to let people stay outside in the cold and freeze.
DeSantis did it too.
And that was your tax dollars that could have been feeding your kids, the same tax dollars that trafficked those people to New York. And yes, they put them in hotels, but that was your tax dollars that also got them there, when they could have been fast-tracked to citizenship and immediately paying into taxes that could have then been reassessed into our society. And I said, look at Alligator Alcatraz. That's $430 million of your FEMA dollars that's supposed to help your family out of a hurricane disaster. And he looked at me and he goes, I never thought of it like that. And
the expansion of ICE. What is that thing like in the billions now? The budget is bigger than the FBI. Imagine all the good you could have done with that money, because basically they were on the borders initially. Now they're running around in our cities.
Right.
And terrorizing people. And even when I was looking at the reports with Minnesota, they actually negatively impacted that community financially, because people are afraid to leave their homes. They're not going to shops. They're not buying things. So I don't know. And then on top of that, again, I mean, you're killing people and you're arresting people falsely, even Americans. Like I had one of my friends, he told me, goes, Greg, you got to be careful about using the word black history. I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we in Jim Crow now? I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm not going to stop doing this. It's almost like they're getting into our heads to where you take no action. And if you don't take any action, you're going to totally and completely lose the country, which is why I think a podcast like this is good. Again, it's just normal people. You and I, we met, right? Mm-hmm. And you're like, okay, Greg, come on the podcast. And then it's just normal people doing normal things collectively. Mm-hmm. And together, as we work as a unit, we can change things. Maybe even win Florida. I'm hoping so bad.
That's my dream, because I listen to a lot of nerdy data podcasts that talk about how do we not only win the next presidency, but retain the next presidency, especially when we are losing black men. We're losing black men over the age of 50.
Yes.
We're losing young men. And, you know, when we start to really look at the numbers, the only way we can really retain the presidency is to flip Florida.
Yes.
But yet so many national organizations have divested from Florida because they don't see it as viable, because they're purging the voter rolls and doing all these voter suppression laws and implementing them, like, you know, making you re-register for vote by mail and purging voters, making them inactive. And then now their petitions are being thrown out. And, you know, they're doing a lot of things to make Florida look like it's not viable anymore. Right. So this podcast, for me at least, is to inspire people who are like you, sitting at home saying, I wish I could just do that one thing. And then also to like humanize the movement and to show that we are doing great things, with the hope that Florida will not be forgotten and that they can see the movement.
Okay. So I have this crazy idea in my head, right? This is the first time. I have a good friend. I've told him about it. So I look at Orange County. I'm like, we need to replicate this in every county in the state of Florida. Don't leave anyone out. I don't care I come from a small town, only about 2,500 people. They are included too. Miami, everybody, small towns, right? We take what we have. We hold for the first year, one-day conference. Because what is that thing the Republicans have? We don't have a version of it, like CPAC or something, where they go and have this big convention, right? So at this conference, I even have a name for it. It's called Voter Palooza, right? A lot of times when we gather, it's so humdrum and it's so formal, right? I'm like, no, turn this thing into a party, right? What's going to be at this party? We're going to show people how to organize their voter communities. We're going to show them the platforms. We're going to show them what type of events you can have. You're going to show people how to use social media, how to organize using something as simple as Google Calendar, how to fundraise. And you know what, Lee? I already have the people who I would like to present at this conference. And I can even get sponsors for the people who do it. This is just a vision I have, right?
Voter Palooza.
And of course, Voter Palooza. And then, of course, you're one of the presenters. So
I'm being recruited for a fictional conference.
But you know what? It starts out as fiction, right? It starts in your head. Then it becomes reality.
I think that's a genius idea. I think, though, we should do it in a way that it's not Democrat focused, because I think we're losing a lot of young kids to being NPA. Okay. I think a lot of people are Democrat curious, but maybe are a little scared of going to a Democrat specific thing, because we have Leadership Blue. And frankly, it's not that well attended. I think if you were to do Voter Palooza, Leadership Blue is, that like sounds boring. The Florida Dems. No, we're gonna have Voter Palooza. And it's super expensive, and it's so boring. It's so dry. Sorry, but I mean, it is. Voter Palooza could be fun with music and, you know, Maxwell
And there's no
Frost.
Democrat. Yeah, there's no Democrat name attached to that.
Exactly.
It's just voting. Organizing voting community.
Yes. And I think, you know, Maxwell Frost does his big Mad Soul concert, which is really fun. But it sounds like what you're trying to say is we need trainings.
Yes. We
need to bring people to a place where they can understand the laws that are impacting them in a deeper way. And maybe even give them an opportunity to have buy-in on the agenda?
Yes. No, I'm telling you, I've been thinking about this for the past 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even to I've gotten logos and everything on it. So I was just afraid to pull the trigger, right? No, I have branding and everything because you and I were talking about money, and the Republicans have a lot of money. But to me, Lee, it's not always money because Kamala Harris raised almost $1 billion?
$1 billion.
She actually had more money than Trump. She still lost, right? In my head, I think it's organizing. I think there are people in these towns, in these cities, they want to do something. They don't know how to start it. Because I have a cousin in my little small town, he wants to do something, but he actually was posting and got called in by his job. It's like, oh, we don't think you should be posting. And I told him, I said, don't post because of where you live. But if you could just organize, if I could just go to that town and show people how to organize, and then in every town, because again, Orange County does it and does it very well. Very impressed with Susan Windmiller, right? She knows how to fundraise. Sam knows how to fundraise. We know how to organize here, right? I've even seen people with succession plans. Okay, my term is up here, so now it's your turn to step up. These things, they look small, but they are not.
They really aren't. I mean, I love this idea.
Okay.
I'm sad because it feels like we don't have a lot of time. I don't know if people in the audience feel the way that I do, but I see 2026 and 2028 our last window to save democracy. And if I had a magic wand, I would love to just have the budget to have a team go into all of our most flippable purple areas, Little County, Osceola County, places like, Miami-Dade, we could flip back, Hillsborough, and just pay a team to help create the infrastructure. Because I think what's happening...
I like this idea.
I think what's happening is that all of the corporate powers that be are working every day to figure out a way to squeeze us a little bit more and a little bit more.
Yes.
And then what happens is we can't really afford, this is something I talk to my organizing friends about, can't really afford to drive something, meaning that, it takes a lot of personal time and sacrifice to be the head of a caucus or the head of
it does.
a group, and to have the follow through to build it. To make sure that new people are constantly coming in and all these things. And Orange County, we're lucky that we have a little bit of like affluent people who live here who can pay and buy in. But the rural counties, the counties like Seminole and Osceola and Polk, there's so much opportunity there. But talking to the organizers, it's like everyone is barely making it right now. And to add more to their plate, it's like, it's another big leap to get them to be able to build infrastructure without having it be at a huge sacrifice.
Yeah, I see different cohorts. Like I tell people, if you can't knock on a door, make a phone call.
Right.
If you can't make a phone call, give $1. If you can't give $1, voice some information online. I think collectively, excuse me, it can be done, right? Because you're right. Money is important and you do need money. However, I think technology can offset some of that, right? We don't have to physically go into every county and train every person. You can have how-to videos, right? Here's this tool. Here's how we use that. And then, Lee, you said 2026, 2028. Okay. So if we start this year just with 2026, we're not going to expect 10,000 people. That's not the purpose of it. Because one thing I see that Republicans do now, it's year round, all day, 24/7. There's no more election season.
Right.
It's just electing people, and you better be prepared because Republicans, they were organized. There is a reason they are dominating the Florida university system. They had a plan in place. They've stacked the board of governors with all Republican people. Now they are putting conservative presidents at the universities. They are even trying to get rid of, what is the organization that approves the lawyers? I forget the name of it, but they're saying,
The Florida bar.
Yeah, the Florida bar. They're like, these organizations are liberal. We're going to write our own thing. So they have a plan. They're crazy, but they are executing.
They are.
We are not, and we can't let them cause us to freeze and not take any action, because I believe everything starts small. The civil rights movement, because we had slavery in this country, 250, 300 years, right? I'm sure a lot of those people were saying, we're never going to be free. But some were saying, no, we will be, right? Hopefully it doesn't take us 300 years. But we have technology now, Lee, so we can move a little faster.
Yeah.
So I think we need to duplicate this magic that we have here in Orange County.
100%. And it really, like you said, it really takes the leaders. It takes the people who are willing to get up and to go. And I think we have a really good opportunity, because one thing that the Republicans are doing right now is eating each other alive.
Yes.
Because half of them are, fiscally responsible, and they see that our tax dollars are being used for alligator Alcatraz and not being reimbursed, or that we are taking immigration holds and putting them in the jails and then holding them for 72 hours, then taking them out and bringing them back, which is draining our local tax resources. Like, there are Republicans that are fiscally responsible who are seeing kind of the money schemes, to make private prisons.
Yes.
And they're realizing this is not what I want. You said criminals only. And they're starting to have infighting with some of the MAGA diehards that just, frankly,
and it's got to be impacting
people.
Some of their businesses, because a lot of Republicans, they're very rich people. They own things. They own a lot of agriculture. Where are you going to get your help from? And we're in Orlando. This is a services community.
Right.
Where are you going to get the help from? So I know they have to be negatively impacted with all of these things as well.
I would love for capitalism to finally redirect its anger.
Yeah.
Because
me too.
For too long, unions have been attacked.
Yes.
Regulations have been the cause of our prices going up. Everything's been the fault of anyone who wants to take care of someone in the community.
Exactly.
And now I hope that what these mega corporations are going to start realizing is their bottom line is getting hurt by this fascist implementation. And they have to wake up and start putting their money back into the political system, where we're going to regulate them and hold them accountable to paying taxes, but we're not going to completely deport their entire workforce.
Right.
We can create, collaborative ways to get workers job trainings and get them on a fast track to citizenship.
It only makes
sense. So
that
the people can, you know what I mean? It's like, we could find a way to be more empathetic in our policies, working with the corporations. Capitalism has gotten us this far, where they want to drain every single penny out of the bottom line, which makes things less quality, makes working conditions more dangerous, makes us all, struggling financially because they're not paying livable wages.
Right.
And at a certain point, it had to buckle to the point where it broke.
Yeah, because to me, I'm seeing too much greed. We're almost moving to, I never knew what an oligarch was, right? And then I read it, and it's kind of, we're moving that way. All of our corporations are buying the television stations. Elon Musk, and what's that other guy who has all the data? I forget his name, but he backed J.D. Vance. These people... Okay, I don't want to get in trouble here. Okay.
They were all at the inauguration, so we know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, and I look at these, I'm like, you guys are billionaires.
Yeah.
What are you complaining about? Why do you have to be mean? Why do you have to make fun of someone who's different than you?
Right.
Like, who didn't love you enough, right? I even look at someone like, you were talking about corporations, Byron Donalds, who's running for governor, right? His wife owns a charter school management corporation. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did not.
Yes, she does. So if he wins, They're going to take a lot more of our public schools are going to be converted to charter schools because she's going to make a crap load of money. She manages all the charter schools. All you got to do is follow the money. So yes, as a matter of fact, the whole voucher system, giving parents money to educate their own kids, I'm all open for charter schools and different ways to educate kids. But a lot of this stuff, Lee, it's money based. All you have to do is look at the amount of money that's being made. So, for example, when they appointed the president at Florida A&M University, the highest paid president at that university was $475,000. They bring in Marva Johnson. She makes $1 million a year. Okay. New College in Sarasota. Okay. That was supposed to be Florida's top liberal arts college. They came in there, they gutted that place. Now it's a shell of itself. They are in a lot of debt, and they're basically trying to turn the school into a sports university. And this guy, no background in education, $1 million a year. It's become the standard now. They are taking the Florida University system, and they're even talking about Ron DeSantis becoming president of FSU after he's out of there, because he would still be making a lot of money and he'd still have a lot of political sway. So they've even taken the university system over here in the state of Florida. And the Democrats, we've been asleep. And I don't think it's right that you said earlier that the people at the national level, we just giving up on Florida. You can't do that. I can understand not dumping a lot of money here, but you need to give some support. Like for me, I've always been kind of like a fighter. I kind of like never give up because you might get lucky. You might get a lucky punch, right? So you can't just give up on Florida. Like people are saying, oh, I don't think Florida can win the governor. I'm like, yeah, if you think like that, we're not. And that's why I've been to events both with David Jolly and Jerry Demings. And I like both of those guys, but I think they're not being loud enough. I don't know who's running their social media, whatever, but you need to see more action, because I talk to people, they say, I've never heard of either one of those guys.
Right.
So that's not money, right? That is
not even using the free tools.
Using the free tools. Like they should be here talking to you. No, I'm serious. They should be talking.
Check your inbox.
Yes, they should be talking to influencers. They should be doing radio shows. They should be doing everything, not just the traditional stuff. And I think that's why we lost some of the elections. And when you look at some of the Democrats now who are winning, they're not waiting on the national people. Like, to me, they're building their own infrastructure, and they're going after that, and they're being social media savvy, someone like a Jasmine Crockett or AOC. However, that does need to be backed with policies.
Policy.
Right?
Policy. And I think that's really the biggest divide, is that sometimes we're going through a clash in this moment, the worst time ever, where the way we've always done it isn't enough.
Right.
And there's a lot of corporate Dems that have always done things the same way.
Yes.
You raise a ton of money, you hire consulting firms, you pay, field organizers to knock doors for you. You do all of the fancy galas and cuttings, and you speak occasionally to the biggest donors, and you do the big press ops, right? Yeah. Those days are gone.
That's over.
People expect you to rise to every occasion, right? It hurts me because I'm proud of where I'm from. And even though Mayor Demings and I haven't been on the best side of terms for things like Split Oak, but I'm proud to say that I live in Orange County because of what he has been able to accomplish. You know, I mean, we have an affordable housing trust fund.
Yes.
We, have a sustainability officer that is able to implement, a lot of solar, and we have the largest floating solar voltaic system in the entire country. And we're able to have, energy efficiency standards in our governmental buildings, and a lot of affordable housing units that have opened up. We have things to be proud of.
Yes.
Even our Green Place program, putting $10 million into a fund to conserve more land. We have good programs. Does the rest of the state know that we have those programs? No. Probably not.
And how did we get them?
And I don't think that he is very good at selling himself or his story. I think that, frankly, I don't think that he's really in the community enough with the little people. I think that that's the way that it's been for a lot of established politicians. But now people want to see you on their street. They want to see you at the school lines, at the football games.
That's right.
They want to see you shaking hands with everyday people all the time, and then being able to tell the story on social media. He's a little camera shy.
Yeah.
But right now, people are scared.
Yes.
Democrats, Republicans, people are struggling to make ends meet.
Of course.
Property insurance is skyrocketing.
Everything's up.
And when we have things like the SNAP benefits that we're getting ready to sunset.
It's ridiculous.
I didn't hear anything. That was a perfect opportunity. Or like when TPS was getting ready to expire, it got all the way up to the night before. I didn't see any mass mobilizations or press conferences or... And mind you, when the mayor does a press conference, it's usually like a closed door press conference, like in the diet. You need to get in the community where people are going to be impacted, yelling in the camera. This is unacceptable. You come into my town and take my people. I dare you.
That's right.
And if you don't act like that, then people feel like you're not really for them. Look at Buddy Dyer.
Yeah.
So pro LGBTQ, right? He's at all the parades. We've had so many laws that have been targeting our LGBTQ community, targeting our minorities. Where's the rapid response? Where's that sense of urgency?
Yeah. So we gotta do a better job at that, because sometimes I even see people, how can you get caught off guard when someone asks you a certain question about a certain policy, right? It's something as simple as, okay, when you go out there today, I know they're going to ask you one of these questions. You should already have some responses ready to go. And I see this happen to a lot, even a lot of high-flying Democrats. I'm like, you didn't answer that correctly, or just answer from your heart. The Republicans do. Donald Trump says the dumbest, stupidest stuff, and people, they follow him. So the Democrats, you're doing something good. You're advocating for something good. So why are you shy about it? Like I always talk about food stamps, right? Because to me, you're going to punish the adult. No, you're going to punish your child simply because of something that you think the adult may be doing. And Lee, to me, food stamps help the economy. People, you get the food stamps, you take it to Walmart, you take it to Publix, you take it to wherever, and the money goes right back into the economy. So again, what do you care about feeding a kid who needs a meal? Like, are you crazy? So simple things like that. You're right. And we should be advocating for those things, but again, not utilizing social media well enough. Like I wrote someone on Jolly's campaign 2 days ago, text message, nothing. When I write Anna Escamani, within 24 hours, she has given me a response. And to me, I don't know why. If anybody wants to know how to do a clinic on public relations and how to really run a campaign and how to market who you are, all you got to just do what Anna does. Okay? Well, not almost every day, but I know every week she's giving informational videos. She's keeping people abreast. Here's what I'm doing. And I see that girl in every parade, shaking hands. People love, she's authentic. She's a real person. And those guys are too. And I want to see either one of them win, right? I think they could together, they can do it. But they've got to spruce this thing up. They got to be louder. They got to get a social media person. Like, why don't you have a young person out there just blasting out stuff every day? I am a novice and I get a podcast off at least 5 times a week, right? I try to get it out at 7:30 because I realize I have more hits. And Lee, I'm just basically educating myself. If I have a question, something I don't know, I'll just put it in ChatGPT and find out how to do it, because I'm really serious about turning Florida blue. And I'm like you, I'm afraid too, especially with the younger generation. I even had my ex-wife, she didn't vote. She's a Democrat, right? And in the last election, she goes, I didn't vote for Kamala. I'm like, you didn't vote at all? She goes, no. She goes, why? She goes, well, I felt like we didn't have a choice. I was like, you know what? I would have felt better if you had written yourself in. Because at one point, Lee, women could not vote.
There's other people on the ballot. I mean, it just get to the polls. There's other people on the ballot,
Yes.
I cry every time I vote.
Mm-hmm.
I always go on the first hour on the first day of early voting.
Mm-hmm.
And I cry because I think of all the people that died. Like I literally do. I know that sounds a little tropey, but
no, you're correct.
I literally think about all the people that died just to be able to have a shot at voting. Mm-hmm. And to throw that away to me is such a disrespect to our history.
Yes.
But again, I want to emphasize that there is this clash that's happening between the way we've always done it and the new wave of leadership that people, especially Democrats, are expecting. I think Anna Eskamani's style is, we're so lucky to be exposed to it.
I agree.
But it is so not the average.
Right.
I think the average is you see people at campaign events and, maybe they have a decent door knocking game, but even then, you don't really change minds when you're door knocking. You're just reminding people to vote who typically vote. Mm-hmm. In order to really change minds, you have to be in the community doing mutual aid, visibly telling your story on social media, and making sure that people understand the policies and that you stand for, but also the policies that are actively taking away their rights. Mm-hmm. And luckily, we have Anna to set the example. But it's really embarrassing when we have Dems that are in office and they don't have a well-rounded communication mechanism. A newsletter is the minimum. I'm talking fully streamlined, constituent services, telling the story of how many cases they were able to close or, what types of services their office,
Maxwell
offers.
Frost does a good job of that too.
Doing satellite office hours, going deep into the places that have been neglected for years.
Yes.
Our Dems need to step up. And I call that a progressive. Mm-hmm. I think sometimes people labeling something progressive is kind of scary because it's
but the Republicans have done that. They'll take a great word and they will just flip it. Progressive, woke, all of these things were at one point positive terms, but they will take something and they will pound it. And the next thing you know, we're thinking, I don't want to be kind of progressive.
Yep.
Why not? Progressive means moving forward.
It's
in an innovative way. Yes.
But again, also, it's money in politics because you have consultants that come in and they say, oh, no, you don't want to speak too much to that. That will scare away the moderates.
Right.
Which kind of, if you look at that system, it really waters down who you are as a person, so you're not running an authentic campaign.
Yeah, I think they handled Kamala too much. They
told her, you can't laugh too much.
Yeah. I mean, it's just part of who you are. I think one of her best moments was that interview with Brett Baer at Fox. Mm-hmm. To me, she was being herself. And part of it's her fault because you're the candidate. So you can say, okay, yes, guys, I'll do this, but I'm not going to do that. So, but yes, I agree. Don't laugh so much when that's part of who you are. And laughter is contagious. But again, sometimes we allow Republicans to define us. And I hate this about I don't like this about the Democrats. We allow Republicans to dictate how we act because they'll run a campaign to try to make you unelectable. So what I've done, I have a posting calendar for Byron Donalds, okay? I create 2 posts per week and I throw them out there. I don't have a big audience, right? So I'm trying to figure out a way just how to partner with other people so we can amplify this message. Even if it's just one day, hey, every Democratic organization in the state of Florida, we're going to do one blast against Byron Donalds on this particular topic, and we're just going to blast this thing every week, 2 times a week if you can, or every day. You have to make this guy unelectable because he has a lot of money. He has the backing of Trump, but he is not a good candidate. He's just going to be whatever Trump tells him to do it's going to be like Trump's going to be in Mar-a-Lago. Excuse me. He's going to be here, and Trump is going to be pulling the strings. All he does is what Donald Trump tells him to do. And look at the mess Trump is making. All of these wars, all of these people dying. Now soldiers are dying, right? You get to sit in Mar-a-Lago while someone else's child gets to go out there and die. For what? For what? For what? I can understand if someone attacked the United States, but why is my child defending what again? Why my child die? For what? While you sit in Mar-a-Lago with all of your fancy friends?
Or your new ballroom. Or your new Qatari jet. I think...
In his crypto?
I mean, it's really sad because in that sentence that you just said, I've seen more energy than I've seen from Demings.
Yeah.
And that, like, that could be a perfect thing for him to come out and do a video on. Like, American soldiers are dying.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And our president is doing these lavish parties in Mar-a-Lago with, like, burlesque dancers.
Yes.
And
they had the Great Gatsby theme.
You know?
Yeah.
And he's waging illegal wars.
Yes.
Committing international war crimes, blowing up boats of fishermen in the Caribbean for what? You know? And I think...
And nobody's saying anything. Like, he's killing people. Like, what is going on here?
I think that we do need energy.
Yes, we need energy.
At least my stance, and I can tell that it's your stance too,
Mm-hmm.
is I'm not going to wait for the Democratic Party.
We cannot. I'm
going to try to do... So I'm going to push myself out of my comfort zone. But I also run candidates.
Mm-hmm.
And in my theory of running candidates... I think even if they're grassroots and they don't have any money and they're not
Mm-hmm.
taking corporate money,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to at least run them to be messengers of the policies that other Dems in their race won't speak to.
Right.
Right? Like, we had Dems just vote to criminalize homelessness. We had our Dems on our board vote to sign the 287G agreement to militarize our police and our corrections officers to bring migrants to Alligator Alcatraz.
Is there a way to do that? Okay, these Dems did that, right? Is there a way to do that without damaging the Democratic brand? Like, how do you do that?
You run badass Dems with a better message. In my head, the message should be, think of all the resources we could save if we didn't just obey what DeSantis told us to do and we actually fought back. Think of all the resources we could reinvest if we didn't just sell out to the mega corporate tourism industry. You know, we're doing a 5th expansion of the convention center. We already have the largest in the country. But there's people who literally can't feed their kids over the weekend. When you go to some of these extended stay hotels, for example, and you talk to the residents there are some residents that have no family and they skip meals because they can't afford to eat when they have to pay for their medication to stay alive.
Yeah.
I want leaders that are in those places trying to make sure that the pantry in the hotel is full.
Yes.
You know? And the Democrats are hurting their own brand if they're not there.
Right.
I think it's like people, including people within the Democratic Party, say, Lee, stop criticizing the Dems so much. You're going to hurt their brand.
No, we have to hold each other accountable.
I'm saying they're hurting their own brand by voting wrong and by not showing up to these places where everyday people are barely making it by.
Because the Republicans, they stick to their policies. No matter how dumb and stupid they are, they stick with them. But like you said, the Dems, we will run away from some of ours. Because to me, things like food stamps, Section 8, those things are important. You're talking about the basic fundamentals of a person's survival, housing and food, right? So we do need to be louder. We need to be more organized because I understand organization now because one of the ways that Martin Luther King and all of those guys, the civil rights just didn't happen. That was an enormous amount of organization. They made it, well, it wasn't easy because he lost his life, but sometimes people, they just think that stuff just happened. No, that was organization. Okay, we're going to go here. We're going to boycott these people, which is very effective, by the way, because Target is still struggling when people. So we have to start using these type of tools as well. So all these corporations, the comedian that they with Disney, that there was that Jimmy Fallon. Yeah.
Or are you talking about Jimmy Fallon?
No, it wasn't Fallon. It was the guy when they said they were going to pull him off of, was it NBC?
Kimmel.
And people said, okay, if you do that, we're going to withdraw subscriptions. So we have to use tactics like that, because one thing people understand is money. They will change their minds when you don't spend money.
You brought it up. I mean, think about it like this. We have 7 schools about to close. The amount of outrage that people are directing at our school board when the budgetary cuts and the voucher program was implemented at the state. There's no reason why OC Dems or even Jerry Demings or whatever candidate is running shouldn't use those places to try and garner some of that energy and redirect it into these electoral processes. You know, they need to know who screwed you over to make you lose your school.
Yep. Just like that. Using language just like that. Who screwed you over, right? Maybe not that, but in any event, it's simple language. Sometimes Democrats, we use these elaborate words. I can use those words, but people that you don't connect emotionally with people, right? And it's like they're taking your neighborhood schools. People don't know that a lot of charter schools, Lee, they're no better than the public schools when it comes to academics, but people don't know that. Charter schools, they have a marketing program. Oh, come here. This is like a semi-private school. We're going to take care of your kid. And when they get there, they find that the charter school doesn't have a bus. It's like, oh, I got to bring my kid back and forth? Yes. They don't realize all these things. But again, like you said, no one's telling that story. And I am a big fan of public schools. I love public schools. But Orange County, again, it's storytelling, Lee. They have a remarkable product with the public schools app. They don't know how to tell their story.
Right.
Like, guys, you have remarkable success with your students, and you are allowing these charter agencies to come in here and fool the parents to say it's going to be better over here. No, there are very few highly successful charter schools, and most of the successful ones, Lee, they are already in wealthy areas.
Right.
Okay. Our public schools, I'll put schools like Dr. Phillips, Winter Park High School, Olympia High Schools. I will put those schools against any private schools. They have great kids. Those kids do great things. They have great programs. They have certification programs. But again, Orange County is not even telling its story. Orange County Public Schools tell a better story. They're going to have to switch how they do things. You're going to have to, they say, oh, we can't do marketing. Well, you kind of do marketing when you market Orange County Public Schools. Hire a social media person.
Yeah. I mean, Jones High School has awesome social media.
There you go.
Well, I guess in closing, like, where do we go from here? It sounds like both of our stories are kind of echoing that we need to get outside of our comfort zone. And maybe because Trump is just taking a baseball bat to all of our systems, that maybe this discomfort is going to need to be channeled into action and into new forms of implementation, whether that's schools trying to market themselves better so that they're well-funded and that people understand their worth so that they fight for their public schools more. Or maybe it's candidates being more aggressive in their messaging and making sure they're showing up for the constituents, even in the small, underserved, more vulnerable neighborhoods. We know that the way we've always done it isn't working. And that people like your ex-wife are staying home because they feel like the system isn't speaking to them.
Right.
So
here in my mind, Lee, I think that something can actually come out of this. Number one, organization. Number two, vote Palooza. Even if there's just 2 people, it can go beyond 2026 because you and I already talked about this is not just 2026 and 2028. It's just year round. So having a vehicle in which people can come and they can learn and they can take that information back to their county and Lee, maybe even give them some type of support. I don't know what that looks like. They can say, oh, hey, I need training on these tools or whatever, right? So I think it's organization, not waiting on the national people, and then just starting. Like you say, if you can't knock on a door, donate $1. You don't have to donate $10,000, right? Or make a phone call. Do something. Wear a T-shirt. So I think if we can develop a vehicle, and I've actually been thinking about taking this to the OC Dems. This whole idea is like, look, guys, we need to have a conference and blow this thing out of the water, showing people how to organize and how to amplify your message. And I like what you're doing. You started the podcast here.
If you don't get support for Vote Palooza, I'm going to help you do it. It'll just be me and you.
Yeah,
we'll be the leaders of it, and we're going to make it happen.
1,000-mile journey begins with the first step. And Jerry Demings, David Jolly, you need to be right here. I'm telling you, we need to hear you.
Well, I ask everybody a final question at the end of every podcast, which is, all the work you're doing, being out in the community, it can be like kind of emotionally exhausting sometimes. Yes. Mm-hmm. What do you do to replenish yourself and like fill your cup?
I have a nice glass of Pinot Grigio.
Ooh. And what do you do? Do you watch a movie? Do you read a book?
You know, Lee, I like creating. Like I've really surprised myself. And sometimes it's to the point where I'm like, Greg, you got to stop. Because remember, I'm new to just volunteering. So to unwind, I do like football. I like sports. So I watch a lot of sports. I talk politics back and forth with some of my friends. And then with another one of my buddies, he's my mentor. He and I will talk organizational strategy. And for me, I kind of like it. But really the way I do unwind, watching sports.
What
talking
teams?
With my friends.
I don't want to get you in trouble.
My teams are horrible. I like the Miami Dolphins. We're so awful. That's my football team. And March Madness is coming up. And I love this because it's at the point when when you lose, you got to go home. So everybody's going to be giving their best. So, and I like what just happened. I didn't watch much of the Olympics, but I love just what happened with the women's story. I'm so happy for them. So yeah, that's it.
The Sports. Miami Dolphins. Any other big teams? We got a lot of Eagles fans that watch us. So you got to be careful.
No, but yeah, just mainly the Dolphins and basketball. I used to like the Golden State, but that team's getting kind of old now. So I follow them basketball-wise. But no, and then college, of course, I'm a graduate of Florida A&M University. We just got a new coach. So I think we're going to do really, really, really well. And I like the Miami Hurricanes. I didn't go there. I'm Florida A&M first, Miami Hurricanes second.
Okay, good. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that you pledged on this podcast. Yes. You heard it first, kids. Yep. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this podcast. Can you plug your egg report and tell people where they can find it?
Yes, I have a website. It's called theeggreport.com. If you just want to see basic prices. And I also do I call it a mini podcast, 7:30 every morning, somewhere between 7:30 and 8. So, and you can find me on the Egg Report. I have Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Greg Perkins or the Egg Report. Okay. And that's where you'll find me.
Well, thank you again for being here. And I can't wait for Vote Palooza.
Yes. Let's do it, Lee.
Let's do it.
All right.
Thank you all for watching. We'll see you at the next one. Bye. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you heard today, please comment, subscribe, and share. And visit organizingtovictory.com so that you can learn more about all the ways that we're going to be organizing this year. It is the most important election year of our lives. I know you hear that all the time, but we here at Organizing to Victory hope to not just talk about the issues, but to organize around the issues. So please share, subscribe, and follow us. And we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.